Good morning. Welcome to your program, Your Agenda, and I'm your host, Cito Beltran, welcoming you today, October 13. Okay, Friday the 13th. I kind of have sorry. It's October 12, Thursday. Sorry, medyo, I'm getting confused. Is it Friday the 13th? I think, no. Yeah, it is October 13th, and it's a Friday the 13th. So there you go. Okay, I'm so freaked out with Friday the 13th that I'm fumbling it. But anyway, welcome to your program agenda. And you might have noticed that our background indicates we are somewhere else, not the usual place in Manila. But we do hope that you will enjoy the day because looking out the window, it is sunny, and Pag-asa apparently has declared that the end of rainy monsoon season. So we will cover that when we read the news. But first of all, we start with our expression of gratitude. Thank you to all of you who are subscribers of Cignal TV and viewers of One News on channels 8 and 250. And of course, for watching Agenda, whether it's the live show from 8 to 9 every morning, Monday to Friday, or it's the replay in the afternoon. And thank you, of course, to those of you who watch us via Facebook and on YouTube. And maraming salamat po, PLDT, Home Fiber Optic Internet, Marco Borlongan, for the support for the program. Okay, and suporta po, no? This is like a cooperation between sister companies, and we really appreciate it. So let's get on with our daily starter for today. But before that, please stick around because we are going to be speaking with an official from the Israeli embassy in Manila to discuss what's happening in Israel, the Gaza Strip, the war between Israel and the Hamas terrorist group. We will find out. We hope to get updates also regarding Filipinos trapped there. But otherwise, just to find out what is going on and what can be expected from this very dark time in their history, also for the world, because when people are in war and conflicts, thousands of people dying, it is a very dark time. So please include Israel and all those who are trapped in this war in your prayers. Okay, let's go to our daily starter, and it comes from Bishop Vance Olds. Very timely. Ignoring red flags because you want to see the good in people will cost you later. Actually, when I chose this daily starter, it was more of to remind people not to be in denial, because you may be a good person, you may be an optimistic person, you may be a positive person or a leader, and you may want to achieve the best or see the good in people or situations. But if you already notice, if you see that there are indicators, people are not on time, people have integrity issues, when you listen to their dialogues, conversation, and what they say is not consistent with what they do, or they are not committed to their utterances, as they say, those are red flags. And you have to pay attention to red flags because ultimately red flags turn into reality. So while we all pray for people to become good or be good or to be encouraged, etc., the red flags are there. Do not deny that there may be a potential problem. Okay, so let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star, October 13, Friday. And the front page headline and photo is all about Filipinos trapped in Gaza and Filipina that was kidnapped by Hamas terrorists. So Pinoys trapped in Gaza, no way in, no way out. Philippines raises alert level 3 as Israeli continues its bombardment of Gaza Strip and as prospects of a ground invasion mounts. Dozens of Filipinos trapped in the besieged Palestinian enclave have no way in and no way out, complicating calls for their voluntary repatriation. It seems that according to reports, there are at least 70 Filipinos or Filipinas who are married to Palestinian nationals. And they have decided to live there, and now they are trapped there. And that's a problem for everybody. And part of the center photo of the Philippine Star is a photo of one of the Filipinas, a caregiver, Angeline Aguirre, at her family residence in Barangay Balagan, Binmalay, Pangasinan. Aguirre is one of the two Filipinos who were confirmed killed in Israel during the attack by Hamas terrorists. Meanwhile, BBM, President Bongbong Marcos, vows utmost support to relatives of Pinoy fatality. So yun po, the photo is of President Bongbong Marcos evidently having a difficult time of this in what he described as his most difficult phone call. As Chief Executive President, Marcos has assured families of Filipinos killed in attacks in Israel by Hamas militants of his utmost support, as different government agencies also expressed their sympathies and offered help. So we as a whole, as a nation, will be feeling this, and we pray for the families, particularly of Angeline Aguirre and her other fellow Filipinos who were killed or are now held hostage. Meanwhile, at the top of the front page, banks cautioned versus digital vote buying, money laundering. Okay, yan po, no? As the elections come nearer and nearer in 2 weeks' time, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has cautioned banks and financial institutions against digital vote buying and vote selling, as well as money laundering ahead of the upcoming synchronized barangay and sangguniang kabataan elections. Okay, so that's a heads up even for the e-wallet companies, because that will clearly be happening as the elections come nearer. Usually it's the week before the elections when the vote buying starts. Meanwhile, two dynasty sangguniang kabataan bets disqualified. You would be wondering, what do you mean two dynasty? For violating the ban on political dynasties, the Commission on Elections has prevented two candidates from running in the barangay and sangguniang kabataan elections. The COMELEC yesterday announced the cancellation of the certificates of candidacy of Merson Calubag and Ivy Jane in Surigao del Norte and Iloilo, respectively. Apparently, it has become a family matter. Okay. Now, unbelievable humanity, loyalty, death of caregiver mourn. Okay. Kanina, I've shown earlier, I pointed out to the photo of that caregiver And here's part of the story. Binmalay, Pangasinan, in grief and anguish, loved ones of Filipina caregiver killed in Hamas attacks in Israel recalled her last moments of terror, which she narrated in their online chat groups as murder and mayhem unfolded before her eyes. In her final group chat with her family, 32-year-old Angeline Aguirre of Barangay Balagan spoke about her feeling of terror as armed men began to arrive at the residence where she was staying near the Gaza Strip last Saturday. And there's an inset story. Pope appeals for safe return of hostages. Now, sa last message niya, ang sabi niya, andun na daw sa kanila, natatakot na daw siya. That is the recap of the last message of Angeline. Further down the front page, we have Senator's eye probe on LTRB corruption and recantation. Of course, Senate once again will get involved in what will probably be a Senate investigation, and we will see what will happen there. But the senators have decided that they might look into the LTFRB corruption and recantation. Part of other story. Okay, last two pieces. We have youth are the future ambassadors join SM Chairman of Executive Board Hans C., SM EDD President Hans Chico C., Environmental Secretary Antonia Yulo Loizaga, and WWF Philippines Ambassador Sia Vigor during the media launch of the leadership program. Okay. And that story I was telling you earlier, the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, has announced end of rainy monsoon season. Okay, so tapos na raw ang tag-ulan. Okay, which interestingly enough, it is bright and sunny here in Lipa, Batangas. But the end of the southwest monsoon, locally known as Habagat, also marks the end of the rainy season in tropical countries, according to PAG-ASA. Okay, marking the transition toward colder temperatures in the country. Here in Lipa, in the evenings, it is 25 degrees. So, lumalamig na po. Okay, we will now go for a quick break, and when we return, we will speak with an official of the Israeli ambassador to at least help Filipinos understand the situation, give them the background, the insight, and what should we be concerned, because for the longest time, we have been allies, friends of Israel. And of course, there are many Filipinos in Israel, and we are all concerned for the Israelis who have had to suffer such horror and terrorism in the hands of the Hamas group. We'll be right back here on Agenda.
Several countries have pledged their support for Israel for their ongoing war with militant group Hamas. The Portuguese parliament was lit up with the colors of the Israeli flag as a show of solidarity with the Israelis. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz underlined Germany's historical responsibility for Israel's security. He said the country is already coordinating with Israel. The US also reiterated their quote-unquote unshakable commitment to Israel's security. Just recently, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken to discuss Israel's plan against Hamas. But Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Aboul Gate says it's time for the two forces to declare ceasefire. So far, around 2,200 people have died on both sides of the war. Let's further discuss this matter on today's agenda.
Ester Buzgan is the Israeli Deputy Chief of Mission to the Philippines. She previously worked as the Deputy Consul General of Israel in St. Petersburg in Russia. Buzgan was also part of the Israel Defense Forces from 2011 to 2014.
Good morning, Esther.
Good morning, dear Cito.
Okay, welcome to the program agenda, and we thank you for making time for us to explain or at least to educate Filipino viewers what's going on in Israel and what will be the impact of this war with Hamas, especially to the Filipino communities there and, of course, the Filipino-Israeli relationships. Now, to begin with, I'd like to give you the opportunity if you have any statement or announcement to make so that at least we can get the ball rolling, so to speak.
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. One thing I'd like to start with is to express my heartfelt condolences to the families of the Filipinos who were murdered brutally in Israel. I was listening to your reading the papers, and to hear this heroic story, it's a heartache. I feel that we're sharing the same pain. You know what it's like. Both of our nations lost our loved ones in this horrifying terror attack that was addressed to civilians. What is important to say, Hamas as a terror organization, acknowledged globally, was targeting civilians. Just imagine that it was like waking up on the Holy Week, on the second day after you celebrated, into a reality of horror. It's waking up to see your loved ones shot in their beds, to see babies burned. We just received the images from the Ministry of the Prime Minister yesterday. I couldn't sleep. Just seeing those little dead bodies burned to ash. It's something that even people with a strong heart can't handle. More than 40 babies were murdered. All elderly kidnapped into Gaza Strip. This is not even part of the conflict. This is just a horror movie. This is just a massacre. Sorry, it's just
okay. Allow me to cut in, Esther, because I don't want to I think I just don't want the emotions to overrule us. Now, the situation is that Hamas came in. Attacked civilians, killed men, women, children, and elderly people. Now, I know that there were a lot of foreign nationals who were also kidnapped. What is the situation as far as the foreign nationals are concerned? Do you already have information on who the nationals were or what nationalities and how many foreigners were kidnapped?
Problem is that there were so many people kidnapped. We don't even have the full information about the Israelis who were kidnapped. We know there were several nationals from Nepal, a few nationals from Thailand, a few Filipinos that are missing. We're not certain exactly where they are. But as I said, there are more than 100 Israelis, 150 due to yesterday, that are missing. We found out the information from the footages of Hamas, from people being taken into Gaza Strip. So all we know is from those footages, but we're collecting the information nowadays.
Okay, now what has the foreign communities' reaction been, particularly on the diplomatic level? What are the other countries prioritizing? Is it prioritizing the support for Israel, or can you please take care of our foreign nationals? Because I mean, it's even as a journalist, I don't know what questions to ask first, because there are 1,000 questions on everybody's mind right now.
So yes, first of all, I'd like to thank President Marcos for his support that he offered. The National Security Advisor, everyone in the Philippines, we're so grateful for your support. I know that we share the same pain, and it's been hard. It's been hard in the past few days. The world is supporting us. It's supporting us the same way as they support other strikes of ISIS, because what Hamas did was the same as ISIS did. We saw it in Marawi, and we saw it in Ofakim, which is my hometown. It's the same. The world condemns terror. We see it in the European Union. We see the amazing support of President Biden. You saw it all over the news. Germany, Canada, you name it. So yes.
Okay, let's do this step by step. As far as the news reports are going, do you feel that Israel is getting fair treatment in the media, particularly in the international media? Because on day 1 and 2, everybody was very much with Israel. And now there are reports about, Israel is pulverizing, leveling the Gaza Strip. And is the reporting still fair, or is it shifting towards Palestine?
What's important to emphasize, Hamas is not Palestine. The people in Gaza Strip are not the ones to blame on what happened. It's Hamas that controls them, that don't care about them, about their lives, about innocent people. So, of course, you would hear the other voices. Of course, in war, you have casualties, you have collateral damage, you have people dead on both sides. And that's something I wish we could stop on both sides. Sorry. It's something that, of course, we see on the international media. We see a lot of support, and I hope we will continue to see it. What I can say, Hamas is doing a very good job on PR. They're trying to showcase the other narrative, even though with what they've done, I don't see any justification that could somehow explain what happened there. Even in war, you have rules, you have the Geneva Convention, you have things you don't do. This is not even a part of the war. I think there's an earthquake. I feel the building shaking. Sorry for that.
If you feel you need to vacate, let me know.
Yes, I feel something's shaking. Can I stop for 1 second to check with my security?
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, they're just doing a check at the embassy, because apparently they think there may have been an earthquake. We'll go for a quick break, but we'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. And as I started earlier this morning, I'm not too fond of Friday the 13th, and an earthquake on Friday the 13th confirms my fears of this superstition. But anyway, let's go back to our interview with the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Israeli Embassy of Israel in the Philippines, Ester Buzgan. Esther, thank you for staying with us in spite of that momentary shock.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you so much. So
okay,
I'm here with
Esther. Yeah, let's go back to our discussion. I'd like to start with the announcement that Prime Minister Netanyahu has successfully formed a unity war cabinet. Now, normally when you form a unity cabinet, it merely says that the members of parliament came to an agreement over political issues. But what's the difference when it's called a unity war cabinet? Is there a message to that?
Yes, as I said before, this is a heat in our hearts, in the deepest places, in our tummies. This is a heat on our loved ones. And the whole country, I read your questions before, so you were asking how's the mood in Israel, and that's a mode of grief currently. People are burying their loved ones. We have more than 1,200 people murdered, whether they're German, US, they were just shooting everyone, Filipino, Thai, you name it. I'm not sure about Thai, I need to check that, but they were shooting everyone. They were just shooting everywhere and everyone, if it's people, if it's dogs, if it's babies, whoever came across. So the full situation currently is a situation of grief. And that's something that even the decision makers understand. It's something that it's the worst that happened since the Holocaust. It was the first time ever since the Holocaust of so many Jews murdered in the same day. So the country, as country, puts all disputes aside in order to stop Hamas from continuing this terror attack, from stopping their infrastructure to do more of these attacks.
Okay, now there was also an announcement that the government has called all the Israeli Defense Force reservists or Israeli citizens below 40 years old to perform service in the military. Could this something that not many of us know, and could you explain what is the significance of this callback of IDF reservists? Who will be going back, and apparently even those stationed abroad or living abroad are now flying into Israel. Could you explain all of this, Esther?
Yes, IDF is an army of reservists. That means that in the case of a war, the whole country is being recruited. Whoever is still in official reservist service. I, for example, I'm still a reservist. I haven't been called yet, but if I would be called, I would definitely have to go to serve my country. I'm doing it here in Manila, but I will be doing that in the military if necessary. We have people from different embassies being called on a warrant and getting on planes and getting back home. I can share on a personal note that my brother was recruited and he's there since the past few days. I believe it was Monday when my dad brought him to the army base. So yes, everyone are there, and we see a huge amount of solidarity from all cities in the country. People buying snacks, different kits of, just to make the soldiers a little bit happier about defending the country. We still see some terrorist breaches. I saw one that happened last night. I woke up to the news. So we do see that the situation, even though Israel gained control over all towns, we still see some attempts to enter Israel from the south, but also from north. And that puts us in a situation where everyone has to be recruited to handle the situation.
Okay, now, does this indicate, this call back, you said this is the worst attack and slaughter of Israeli citizens since the Holocaust, and no one has said that Okay, no one. I've not read anything stating that. So I think that is going to get everyone's attention. Now, what will be the response of Israel?
The response of Israel is very clear. Prime Minister Netanyahu was very clear about it. We do everything necessary to stop Hamas, to ruin the infrastructure that is using them to do terror. And it's going to be a war. Hamas, with this action, declared war on Israel, and we're going to fight it. We're
Okay.
going to stop them from proceeding doing the same.
You are in the diplomatic corps. What about attempts, pressures, or persuasions for both sides to come to the table? Is there still room for negotiation? Is there still room for talk? Because I watch a lot of documentary and read a lot of stuff about Israel, and I remember that when Israeli athletes were massacred from Munich, the retaliation was 20 years long. It was Operation Wrath of God by Golda Meir and passed on to the next prime minister. And they said, we will not rest until the last henchman or leader is neutralized. Now, that was a handful of athletes. This is 1,200 Israelis. So what will be is there still room for negotiation or for Israel to calm down and back down?
Let me ask you that question. If that would happen to your country, would you sit still and do nothing? Most likely not. It's the same for us. You can't sit silently and negotiate with someone who's trying to murder you and your citizens. It's civilians. If it's an army against army, that's another thing. But when it comes to civilians, to our families, to babies, that's cruelty. That's pure cruelty. And we're not going to sit still and wait. And if you quoted Golda Meir, there's a quote of her that I really like. She used to say that if Arabs would put their guns, there will be no more war. But if Israel puts their guns down, there will be no more Israel. So we cannot afford ourselves to stop and to sit still because we will be killed. Iran is saying that out loud. Hamas is saying that out loud in their agenda. If there's an organization that is declaring that it wants to kill you, to murder you, to wipe you from earth, you cannot talk to a terror organization whose main agenda is to murder your people.
Okay. So I am reminded of what happened in Marawi, where the terrorists had built tunnels under the houses, the homes of citizens, civilians, and ultimately the government had no choice but to destroy the entire place because it was just so hard to find the leaders and the terrorists. Will this be the same thing in the Gaza Strip? Can we expect? I actually said that already to one interview. I said, well, you can kiss the Gaza Strip goodbye, knowing Netanyahu, he is going to level that place. Is that the sentiment of Israelis right now, to just level the place?
I wouldn't use those words, but the sentiment is definite about stopping Hamas in all measures necessary. Of course, Israel, as a democratic and liberal country, is doing everything to protect civilians who are not related to the conflict or who are not related to Hamas. IDF has been publishing tweets of people who are not part of Hamas to stay away from the zones. Inside of Gaza Strip, you have shelters where IDF does not hit. We do not target those areas, and people have places to go to with coordination and everything. So there will be casualties. There will be people affected, as it happens in every war. So whoever is not related, if you have the opportunity to leave Gaza or to go to the safe areas, please do that, because it will be hard and long. And yes, the response is going to be very hard.
Okay, what about for people like yourself and Israelis abroad or allies of Israel? I picked up in the news that some people have said, "Oh, be careful because this war could go beyond Israel and the Gaza Strip, it could be brought by other groups or supporters of Hamas or Iran, etc. Have you received instructions or information regarding this concern of terrorist group bringing the fight to other countries?
Well, we see that happening already. We see Hezbollah trying to join this round by sending rockets from up north, and especially knowing that Iran stands behind Hezbollah and behind Hamas, funding terror and doing everything that to train those people. We definitely can see a situation of an escalation. We can see that the United States sent an aircraft carrier to the Middle East. It's not by chance. It's not just like that. We see a scenario where it can definitely go bigger.
Mhm. Okay, and how prepared or equipped is Israel in that situation where, you know, if Syria, Lebanon, or any adventurous nation decides, oh, come on, let's join Hamas and give Israel a headache, how prepared is Israel to deal with it?
I'll just say it that way. Israel will do everything in its power to keep her citizens safe. We have the power, we have the measures, IDF has been ready. It's not an army that you need to wake up from its sleep, as you probably know. We're trained, we keep the training, so if necessary, we have the means and the power to do whatever is necessary.
Okay, I admire your confidence and determination, and I guess this is what happens when you are constantly being put under siege by different groups. Anyway, we'll go for a quick break, Esther, and when we return, I'd like to ask you more about what the embassy is doing locally, and also concerns about Filipinos stuck in the Gaza Strip. Will there be corridors of peace for people to get out? Because right now, I know Israel has shut everything down. We'll be right back after a quick break.
As intense Israeli airstrikes persistently target the densely populated Gaza Strip, The Philippines has elevated its alert status to level 3 in the region. The development indicates voluntary repatriation of Filipinos. Officials said that 70 Filipinos in the Palestinian enclave expressed their intent to return to the Philippines. Israel, meanwhile, remains under alert level 2, which restricts non-essential movement for Filipinos and suspends the deployment of overseas Filipino workers. But will the conflict between Israel and Hamas have any major economic impact in the country? The answer seems to be both a yes and a no. According to Albay Representative Joey Salceda, there will be no price increase for daily commodities as the country's raw materials are enough until next year. However, the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce fear that oil prices will spike once there will be complications in the Middle East with regards to the conflict. Let's discuss this matter further on today's agenda.
Welcome back to the program, and we'd like to welcome back the Deputy Chief of Mission, Ester Buzgan. Esther, good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Well, good morning.
Okay, Esther, are there any indications that this conflict could expand? You've already pointed out that Hezbollah has fired rockets into Israel, and Hezbollah and Hamas are backed by Iran. But are there serious possibilities that this conflict could expand?
Well, I guess it's a question to ask Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iran, but everything's possible. It's a war.
Okay. Now, as far as Filipinos are concerned, there are 70 Filipinos or Filipinas who are married to Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, and the Philippine officials are clueless on how to get them out of there, repatriate them to the Philippines. Can they expect assistance from the Israeli side, considering that the entire wall has been sealed or the border has been sealed?
I can share with you that we've already transmitted this request to my government in Jerusalem. Israel is aware of this request. At the moment, we cannot allow to open the borders since there will be more invasions of terrorists. We cannot do that currently. But further speaking, it's up to Jerusalem to decide where and where to do it. However, we should remember that there is another way to exit Gaza Strip, which is through Egypt, and I believe with the right coordination between governments, that is also a possibility.
Okay, so there's a border through Egypt, and that is still possible. Now, how long will this shutdown be? Will it be months? Will it be a year? What are the indications?
We're not aware currently. That's something that was not discussed with us. The only thing that was said, it's going to be long. We don't know how long.
Okay, now we know that wars deplete or drain governments of their resources, and the longer a war takes, the more the focus is on that issue. How will this affect Israel's commitment abroad? I mean, like, for example, here in the Philippines, Israel is very active. Your ambassador is very much into promoting innovation, technology, and Israeli companies are very much involved in agriculture, and the government itself is very supportive of the development projects. How will that affect your contributions to the country?
At the moment, we need to take care of our own people. So all money, all economy is war-based economy. That means that everything, all the resources from government, from all embassies are going to be redirected into the war effort. We need to stop Hamas. Once Hamas is stopped, we can go back to everyday life and to do whatever we can. But it's hard to aid others when you have to take care of yourself. We will be happily sharing or doing connections if it's possible and if it's relevant, but definitely not in a war situation. So once everything is back to normal, we will be happy to share more innovation, technologies, connections, whatever we're happy to do here in the Philippines. But currently, we need to take care of ourselves and our people.
What is the reaction of the embassy personnel or of officers when certain groups in the Philippines, I've only seen one actually, leftist group openly showing support for Palestine, etc. What is your reaction to this this march or their public display of support?
A person that supports killing babies, beheading babies, burning their bodies, shooting everywhere, shooting Filipinos, that's a question they need to ask themselves. How can you support that action? Is that something you can tolerate, that the Hamas would be killing more Filipinos? Is that something you support? I would say that again, Hamas is not Palestine. This is different. This is a terror organization. And if you're supporting Hamas, well, the only thing Gaza has to be, Palestine should be free of is from Hamas.
Okay.
Because what's worth mentioning is that Israel withdrew from Gaza Strip in 2005. This is a full control on Hamas. We're not in there. They could have built the second Singapore there if they would only take the money, the aid money they're getting, in order to build infrastructure and to help their own people and not invest it in terror.
Okay, now I'd like to focus now on Filipinos in Israel. What is the situation for them? Because I heard of the level 2 pronouncement or security, level 2 security. Now, are Filipinos confined to quarters? Are you going to allow people into Israel while all of this is going on? What's the situation? Because some people, don't have no idea whether they can travel, whether they can visit, or whether they should all go home first.
I must say, the level 2 that you're discussing was decided by the government of the Philippines. For Israelis, currently, we have flights, we have entering, we even have coordination of journalists entering the country. I mean, it's not something we stopped. So the situation for the Filipinos, we treat them the same as we treat our own. They are our brothers. We would do everything to protect them exactly as we would do everything to protect my parents. That's how we treat them. They're part of our families.
Okay, so they are free to go around Israel right now. They can go to work and go to different places. There are no restrictions on movement.
Like every other citizen.
Okay, because we just say, Filipinos can fly in to Israel. It's all okay. It's still secure.
Well, secure, it's a big word, but there is no restriction in flying into Israel. We cannot recommend to someone to fly or not to fly, but it's their own call. We can reflect the situation currently, and it's their call to fly in or out. But the country is, as I said, the Filipinos there are exactly in the same situation as any other citizens. And of course, we do not recommend them to go closer to the border with Gaza Strip unless they're very experimental, which I do not recommend anyone, not Israelis and not Israelis, to go nearby.
Okay. Well, before we close the interview, Esther, if you have any statement to make, please do so.
Yes, I would like once again to thank you all for your support. We've seen the Quezon City Memorial lit in blue for an act of solidarity. We've seen Santo Tomas University lit up in blue. This warms our hearts, and my heart goes to the families of the Filipinos who were brutally murdered. We are so appreciative of that support, that solidarity that is being given to us. And it's important for me to say, we share your pain. We know what it's like when they kill your loved ones, when they murder them, and how painful it is. So my heart goes to the families of the ones murdered. And thank you once again. We're here next to you, just like you're here next to us.
Okay, and our prayers are with you and your people, your families, and in case you may not have noticed, I can't light up, but I'm in blue because that is my expression of support for your people, and God be with you. Thank you very much, Esther.
Thank you so much, Cito.
Okay, and that's Ester Buzgan, the Deputy Chief of Mission for the Embassy of Israel, and please do pray for all of them, because the extent of brutality, the destruction, and regardless of what your politics is, there is no justification for slaughtering men, women, and children. Absolutely none. Thank you very much for that interview. Let us now go to our closing prayer for the week, and it is from the second book of Samuel, chapter 22, verse 7. In my distress, I called to the Lord. I called out to God, to my God. From his temple he heard my voice. My cry came to his ears. It has been a very difficult week for many of us, and as you may have noticed, doing the interview with Esther is also difficult because there's just so much emotion that's still there. The emotions are still strong, and we do hope that you will all be in prayer this weekend, and do take time to appreciate what you have in life. Be thankful that we are a country living in peace, that we are with our families, and please pray for those who lost their loved ones, and include us in your prayers, because we also need that. I'm Cito Beltran thanking you, and God willing, we hope you can join us next week as we serve you on your program, Your Agenda. Please keep it here on One News.